Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my January library book haul. I firstly want to start the video by saying that I love using my library. It's a fantastic resource, a free resource, and I really recommend, if you are in the position to support your local library, that you do so. I know different areas do different things with their library, but my area that I live in, reservations are free, so I don't have to pay to reserve books to come into my library from within the county. They will ship them from other libraries within the county free of charge, which is fantastic. They also have ebooks and audiobooks available via the Libby app, which I love using, and I browse both catalogues very regularly, and I'm always reserving books. I go to the library at least once a week. If I'm not in work, then I might go a few more times, but as a general rule I go once a week to return and pick up new books. And I wanted to share with you the books that I currently have checked out in January, and I'm going to be doing this I think on a monthly basis, sharing the books I have checked out. So without further ado, let's jump into the haul. Some of these books I know more about than others, so if I do know a bit about the book, then I will give that information, but I do tend to like to go into my books knowing as little as possible, so if I don't know much about it, I won't be reading the synopsis. This is more just to show you what I have currently checked out, show you the range of books that are available in my library, and you will see in my wrap-ups what I thought of them. So let's get into it. So the first one I have actually, let me just grab it. The first one I have actually already read, and that is Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I've read some of Cara Bastone's other novels. She's got some like short stories available via the Audible Plus catalogue, and I've listened to those and I've really enjoyed them. And this is, I think, the first full-length novel that I've read by her, and I really enjoyed this one. This one, I won't go into too much detail, you will see a bit more in my wrap-up, but this one features a surprise pregnancy, but not with the hero. So the surprise pregnancy happens right at the start of the book with another character. It happens off page, and the hero is not the father. And it is a best friends brothers romance. It's a very slow burn romance, and I did enjoy this one. I would recommend it, but you will see more of my thoughts at the end of the month in my wrap up. But that's the first one we have. Then I have Lights Out by Jenny Fletcher. This one I've started reading. As you can see, I've got my bookmark in there. I'm not too far into it, but this one is a F1 romance. I don't know too much more than that, but it's an F1 romance. Jenny Fletcher has previously written historical romance, and I think this might be her first contemporary romance. I've read some of her other books and have enjoyed them, so that's why I've picked this one up, and I'm looking forward to reading more of that one. Next we have What Happens in the Ballroom by Sabrina Jeffries. This is part of her is it Designing Debutantes? Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, Designing Debutantes series, and this series follows I think it's 3 sisters who set up this business to kind of help debutantes on the marriage mart, help them like find the right outfits, pick the most eligible bachelors, so to speak, that are on the marriage mart. And I've read the first book and really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to read this one. I am already kind of not quite halfway through this one, and so far I am enjoying it, but again, more will come at the end of the month on my thoughts of that one. Next we have When We Were Silent by Fiona McPhillips. This one is a mystery thriller. I think this one is a debut author as well. I saw this one on the library catalogue when I was browsing it, and it looks like it is set in a private school, and what drew me in was the kind of cover and the colours on the cover. So I don't know too much about this one, but I'm excited to check it out at some point during this month. Next we have The Duke's Sister and I by Emma Claire Sunday. This one is a Mills and Boons historical romance. I'm trying to read more historical romance in 2025. If you see my TBR and goals video, you'll know that is one of my goals for the year. And this one is an FF historical romance, which you don't see an awful lot of in the historical romance genre, particularly in traditionally published books. Queer romances, we are starting to see more of them in the traditionally published world, but not loads, and I feel like you see it more in kind of contemporary romance, but historical not so much. So I'm interested to try this out, and whenever I do see queer historical romances, I always want to check those out, and this one is a new to me author, so I'll be interested to check this one out too. Next we have Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I read Powerless at the end of 2024 and I really enjoyed it, and this is the kind of next book in the series. I think it's 1.5 in the series and follows one of the characters that we see in the first book, and it's kind of like a I don't know what you call it, but like almost like a spin-off, and then the next second proper book in this series following the main characters from Powerless is called Reckless, and I'll be reading that after I read this. It's a young adult fantasy romance series, and as I say, I really enjoyed the first book, so I'm intrigued to check this one out. This one's quite shorter in comparison to the first book, so hopefully I will get through that and hopefully I will enjoy it too. Next we have Falling for Gage by Mia Sheridan. I know very little about the plot of this one, but I previously read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I think I read it in maybe 2023, maybe even 2022. I read it a while ago and I really enjoyed it, and I did want to check out more of Mia Sheridan's books, and recently my library has got a few more of her titles in, so when I saw this one on the catalogue I decided to reserve it, and it's come in and I will be picking this up at some point. As I say, I know very little about it, but hopefully I will enjoy it. And next I have Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I read her other book, what was it called? Forget Me Not, I think? Yes, Forget Me Not. I read that in 2023 and really enjoyed it. And I've seen a lot of people rave about this book, and I know it was on a lot of people's favourite books of 2024, so I'm excited to check this one out. I think this one is a enemies to lovers romance, and it focuses on musicians, so I'm very intrigued to check this one out and hopefully I will enjoy it. Next we have Duke Most Wicked, oh nearly dropped it, Duke Most Wicked by Lenora Bell. This one is another historical romance book, and I saw this one on the shelf. I don't know anything about the plot. I've not actually read anything from Lenora Bell previously, so I definitely want to check this out. She'll be a new to me author. I have heard of her, and I do have some of her other books on my shelf that I own. But I've decided to pick this one up from the library and hopefully I will enjoy it. And then lastly I have Wisteria by Adeline Grace. So this is the third and final book in the Belladonna trilogy, which I read at the end of 2024. I read the first two books at least at the end of 2024, which is Belladonna and Foxglove. I really enjoyed those two books. This is a YA fantasy romance series following a main character who can see, she can see death and fate, and it's kind of their romance. In the first book there's a bit of a mystery going on. She moves in with her cousins, and one of her cousins is being poisoned by belladonna berries, and she kind of works out who is doing that. There's a lot more to it, but I don't want to go into too much because I don't want to spoil the series, but I have really enjoyed reading this and I'm hopeful that the third book is going to be really good. The second one I didn't like quite as much as the first book, and it did feel a bit like a filler book, which I know other people have said similar, so I have high hopes for this last book. And I will say that the covers, I'll just hold it a bit closer so you can kind of see, the covers for this series are absolutely beautiful. I don't have the physical copies, but I would be tempted to pick up the physical copies because the covers are so stunning. But that is all I currently have out on loan from the library, at least in terms of physical books. I have a couple of audiobooks out on Libby, but I tend not to get as many of those out at once. But these are all the physical books that I will hopefully be reading. Some of these will probably maybe fall into February. So in my library you get 3 weeks for a loan. So sometimes if I don't get to them I will renew them if I am able to. But I will hopefully be getting to the majority of them this month, and I will of course be sharing my thoughts on them in my wrap up when I do eventually get to them. So I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you, bye!